I have some
Shoutcasts. Generals, gentlemen. Hello, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am PwnageMachine, and today I am back in Red Alert 3 for another really awesome shoutcast. You Red Alert 3 guys, you may recognize me from my dual cast with the very talented Cybert against Vinny's and Eminence. So anyway, tonight we have another game between two anonymous players. The reason why they are anonymous is because this is actually one of the candidates for the best replay of 2012. So they've been made anonymous so people don't get biased in their voting. So this map is on Fire Island. Anyway, so now we have a Crusher Crane. That is absolutely crazy. Coming down from Soviet, no one goes Crusher Crane anymore. They used to all the time. I remember playing this game when it first came out, and every game I would just go Crusher Crane. And then as the years went on, people were like, "Nah, dude, you can't go Crusher Crane. It's not good anymore." And I'm like, "No, I want to go Crusher Crane every game." And then I eventually stopped because it was bad. So a really early Vindicator coming out from Soviet now. So he's probably going to try and take down any engineers that he can. He's going to scout them out for engineers. But now that the Allied has revealed his Vindicator, I would say, yeah, look, I would say that Soviet would actually stop trying to build an engineer because he will lose it otherwise. So good work there, not losing an engineer from Soviet. So now the Vindicators are flying around the map. It looks like he's trying to actually camp down this war factory. So you can really camp that with two Vindicators, and the moment a Bullfrog comes out, it's gonna die. Bears are getting some scouting information on Allied here, but it looks like Soviet is actually getting a flak cannon. That's good. That's really good, because now he can wait until they're both about to just finish, and then build them at the exact same time so they can't get camped. The flak cannon goes down, but he is out of power. Whoopsie, that was silly. So now we can't actually take down the Vindicator, which is camping his airfield. The Bullfrog comes out now, but the Vindicators are not actually going to kill the Bullfrog. Whoops. Anyway, so now the Soviets' MCV does go down. Looks like he's going for a third refinery. There we go. Third refinery goes down. Likewise, actually, yeah, Allied is also going for his third refinery. That's not a rare thing to see in Fire Island. People always rush to their third expansion because it's so easy. It's so easy to grab not only your third, but also your fourth. They're so close together. Also, especially as Allied, where if you park your MCV, like here, or probably even there, you can get the two refineries, and you can also share the Tech 2 and Tech 3 in like both structures, like a naval yard and a war factory and an airfield, and both refineries. That's a really good map for allies for those four bases. Vindicators are just trying to take out what they can, trying to take out the bears, conscripts, trying to deny as much scouting as they can. You really want to deny scouting, especially in regards to whether or not you're going for a fourth refinery, or whether or not you're going for a war factory, or maybe even Tech 2. So a lot of Bullfrogs coming now out of Soviet here. He's going to try and repel these air units, but it looks like actually we have an engineer coming out of Allies. Going to try and take that oil derrick. Vindicator's going to get caught by these Bullfrogs. Good Tom Micro there, keeping them alive, but the engineer actually has no way. It has completely scot-free against these Bullfrogs. Bullfrogs cannot do anything against engineers, so the oil derrick does go down to Allied. A Terror Drone's coming out now. Don't know what he's going to try and do. Maybe just get some scouting information or whatnot, but he was unable to do a lot. A sickle actually as well. So with that sickle, he can try and harass down one of these prospectors, but he's going to have to use the help of those Bullfrogs in order to keep them alive from the Vindicators. Well, the Vindicators, here we go, they're still on the airfield, so you could actually take some damage to that prospector if his allies not paying attention, but the Vindicators are coming out now. He's going to catch down the sickle, unless he can sickle jump. Yes, there goes the sickle jump. Good timing there, fantastic. The sickle has now kept alive. A fourth refinery is now also down from Soviet, so also, yeah, actually, yeah, from Allied. So they both have 4 refineries, as well as the Terror Drone sneaking around this little island thingy with a crashed boat. But the multi-gun turret will keep that alive a little bit, also with the help of the Vindicators. Now the Vindicators are against Terror Drone. He could use the opportunity to actually harass that prospector, but I guess he doesn't know where they are. He doesn't have Fog of War hacks. This isn't 0 Hour Clan Wars. Ha! That was a joke, because everyone is hacks in that game. Not really, I'm kidding. Don't help me. Alright, so the Terror Drone went down to that Vindicator, so now we might get caught by this Bullfrog. No, I definitely got to shout out to Allies here for his really good Vindicator micro. He keeps dodging those Bullfrogs where otherwise he could have lost them if he weren't paying attention. So what do we have going on now? We have a lot of infantry coming out of Allied here, a lot of javelins, a lot of peacekeepers. I guess that's to defend these refinery, as well as also the IFV to protect him from just ballsing his way forward into the main base. So 4 refineries each, by the looks of it. The Soviet MCV is actually packing out. He might set up here, try and get like a Tesla coil or something. Oh, here we go. The Soviet to actually take down that oil derrick with the help of the Bullfrog parachuting. Actually, no. It looks like the MCV is moving here, possibly to get this refinery. It would make sense, actually, unless he's going for a really early forward barracks to capture the oil. Nope. Yeah, he's actually going for the bottom refinery, which is funny because not a lot of people actually get this one, and the reason being because it's actually really exposed. You can harass it quite easy with air units, Slays off taking down this oil derrick, but the Soviet is actually taking this one as well. But the freezing is taking down the engineer, so now he cannot get the oil derrick. Where are the Vindicators? The Vindicators going to take the engineer down? No, they don't, because the Bullfrogs come to take them down. That was probably a good thing, actually. The engineer might not have been worth it, because you would have lost one or maybe even two of those Vindicators. So we have a 5th refinery going down now from a Soviet, so he's going to be ahead in income. But because of all of these cryocopters, I would not be surprised if he'll take that down very easily, because how maneuverable those air units are. The hammer tanks are trying to actually leech down the multi-unit turret, but it is being kept alive by not only the javelins but also all of these air units as well. Looks like the cryocopters are going now for one of these ore collectors. They get frozen so fast because there is 4 of them. The Vindicators, yeah, taking that down now, and it looks like he's also going for his other expansion, so we can lose 2 harvesters to this. The flat cannon is going to keep that alive a little bit, but no, because there's just so many cryocopters, they don't stand a chance. The flat cannon at keeping them at bay, because they have so much health. Cryocopters, they have like a flying tank. They can take down Vindicators and Apollos quite easily, but not really cryocopters. Anyway, so Soviet having lost 2 refineries, harvesters are there. Bit of harassment damage, which is good. He needs to do a lot of that because now the 5th refinery is down. So he's not only behind in refineries, but also now the oil derrick and the observation post, which is so important because then you can see basically, you know, all of this. This is from Soviet's vision, so we can see what his army consists of. We can see, you know, if he's taking and whatnot. The Javelin is trying to take down the oil derrick with the help of the laser lock, but Bear does manage to ward him off. Good map awareness there. Actually, airfield has gone down now, so he's going to get some MiGs, and the MiGs are going to be really good at dealing with all of these cryocopters and Vindicators, whereas the Bullfrogs are too slow. So the MiGs can keep up, so that's a good choice there with the airfield. Interesting enough, though, he can actually build the airfield closer to his Crusher Crane, which usually you see. Oh, the shrink rate is actually shrinking down all of these Bullfrogs, so the Vindicators can not do anything, because where are the Vindicators? Okay, well, yeah, I mean, it's good that you're freezing stuff, but you kind of have to kill it with Vindicators. That's alright. One of them actually got, one of the cryocopters goes down to MiG here, so good use of the MiG there. Yeah, none of those Bullfrogs died, because he just had no MiGs, nothing to actually take them down. Whoops. Anyway, we have a naval yard down from Soviet. Fantastic, that's going to be really good, because now with an Akula sub, he could very easily take down this water expansion, which is going to be very important because that's pretty much the most exposed expansion, unless you know, harass these with like twin blades or like, you know, flying over bullfrogs over a cliff or something. So now it looks like Allied is actually moving on. He has Athena cannons now. Tech 3, I didn't mention that, so he can take down the refinery with those long-range Athena cannons. The cryocopters are shrinking, but now Bears and Conscripts are going to take down all the infantry with their stun if they can land it, but no, hammer tanks are taking down the Athena cannons. The shield is keeping it alive. The Bears stood no chance. The Athena cannon is going to go down now because the shield's gone down. He's going to have to retreat away the Athena cannons because they're so exposed, shrinking away the Athena cannons and now to avoid the death from the hammer tanks. Very good use of the shrink ray there. So they're pushing through the middle of the map. So many hammer tanks, so many Conscript flak troopers against quite a lot of infantry as well. A lot of infantry from both players. A cryo shot is going to get right in the middle of those armies. Going to have to split up. Hammer tanks and the infantry now are getting caught out. They're really engaging these guardians and peacekeepers. Hammer tanks crushing down all those peacekeepers. Good use there. But it looks like the cryocopters are actually shrinking those hammer tanks to prevent more casualties from the run over. So that was good use of the cryo shot there, but I think the cryocopters were too far away to actually help out in that battle where it would have been really important. If he shrunk those hammer tanks faster, he wouldn't have actually lost those peacekeepers. So now the Akula sub taking down that multi-gun turret and submersing before the cryocopters can get there to actually freeze that down. So now Soviets got the Athena cannon from one of the leech beams. That's going to be very important at taking down like a multi-gun turret if he actually gets one up, which he does have one. So now a bit of a stalemate here. He doesn't really want to push through the middle of the map, despite having a bigger army. So it might be a good idea to actually push around the side of the map. The refinery went down earlier to his Athena cannons, which he has to rebuild now. So it's good to see Allied doing some constant aggression where he can against these refineries, because he really needs to. Because now not only is he behind one, but also this Aquila sub is going to make short work of that naval expansion if he can, unless he can get some units to defend against that. But the MCV is pushing up to the top of the map. That's really, really risky. It's so far away from his army. Allied could catch that out and kill that with this huge army as well as the quadcopters, unless Soviet actually used this opportunity to push through the right-hand side of the map. He might be baiting the MCV to push down this refinery, which could be a good idea actually. Yeah, we have the prospect to go down to the Aquila sub, and now the MCV is trying to run away in time. He's trying to get back in the water where he'll be safe from the ground army, but still the MCV can get frozen by those quadcopters. The hammer tanks are now pushing. The army is too far away. He can really make this push count because the army is so split up. He really needs to push balls deep as he can. The Athena cannons having their own battle between themselves, the hammer tanks now. Athena cannons taking out what they can, and here come all of these javelin troops now. Javelin troops going to maybe see some nice laser lock marker, taking out what they can. A cryo shot comes in now. He's going to have to split up against that cryo shot. Now his armor's really out of position. The MCV does go down, and now he's going to have to take down all of these infantry with the hammer tank using their thingy that gives them health out when they crash. So now there's so many javelins, so many peacekeepers that made short work of those hammer tanks with the help of those Mirage tanks, as well as now the infantry from Soviet so grouped up that the Mirage tanks can really abuse their splash damage and take all those flak troopers out. Oh wow, the splash damage doing so much damage there. Grinder treads. It's called grinder treads. There we go. Anyway, the Mirage tank's now also taking down those harvesters there. So his army was split up, and that's why he took more casualties than he probably could have. But definitely, he made it worthwhile. We're not only taking out that MCV now, but also taking down that refiner, the harvester. So now Allies is also pushing out the middle of the map, using this opportunity to push out and probably take down this 5th refinery, which he really needs to do. He really needs to take down that refinery, but no, the Athena cannons are being caught out of position. Once again, the shield is keeping the other Athena cannons alive. It's really good micro of the shields. Trying to toggle the shields, one of them goes down to the V4s, and Natasha is out now. Natasha can really use her line attack to take down so many of these infantry at a time. Bears landing the stuns, very good, because now the V4s will be able to use their splash unless they keep force-firing the wrong target. So now the Bullfrog doing absolutely nothing, as well as Natasha just sitting there, just gunning down so many people with her powerful sniper rifle. Natasha is fantastic at dealing with blobs because of her range. Javelin troops are getting killed by those twin blades. Natasha's awesome. She's basically a Jarman Kell from Generals, but better, because she fires beams that make planes kill stuff, which is awesome. Because Jarman can't kill buildings unless you demo Jarman. Anyway, we're here on Red Alert 3, not Generals. So this oil derrick managed to survive that entire encounter. I'm surprised Allies didn't kill it with a couple of laser locks, because they're actually pretty vulnerable. Yeah, here we go. Laser lock taking down the oil derrick now. Good, good, good. So a lot of MiGs coming out now from Soviet, who's getting a pretty big air superiority advantage, which is really important against cryocopters because they're quite fast. It's hard to defend with bullfrogs. The oil derrick does go down, but the javelin will die to that twin blade. And earlier we saw the flak blades flak troopers drop into this twin blade, referred to as a flak blade. So he's trying to take down this refinery, but it's not there. He doesn't know it's not there. So I think now he's just going to try and find whatever he can. He's going to try and harass something very exposed, something vulnerable, which these northern refineries might actually be, considering his army is here. Apollo goes right past that twin blade, interesting enough. The V4 is now seizing down that refinery. There's so many Mirage tanks now. The cryo shot's going to capture down those V4s, as well as the cryocopters freezing those Natasha. So that was a very good cryo shot because it really funneled them in. It was like, hey Natasha, would you like to get frozen by the cryo shot or get frozen by the cryocopters? Either way, you're going to die. So now flak blade dropping down there. Will they get crushed by the... No, they get crushed, yes, but the mines did take down the refinery harvester. So now the bullfrogs are getting frozen. A bit of an air engagement, but the Apollos were way too splashed. They're way too clumped, so the splash damage absolutely ripped through the MiGs, Apollos. The refinery does go down with the very nice twin blade harassment there. For the record, Apollos are a lot stronger than MiGs. Well, not really a lot. They're stronger than MiGs, but MiGs can utilize their splash to take down Apollos if they're not paying attention and splitting them up properly. So meanwhile, yeah, the 5th base is still down. Without the MCV, it's going to be hard to actually rebuild that. He does have a Crusher Crane, so he could use a Sputnik to rebuild that, but no one likes Sputniks. They're really bad, because they die to Vindicators really easily. Anyway, so now so many Mirage tanks in the middle of the map here, using their stealth to avoid their position, but likewise, there's a lot of Hammer tanks, and yeah, Twin Blade's almost dying. Actually, one of them goes down. So the army from Allied is quite a lot smaller than Soviet, because he has less bases, but he's really microing very well, keeping all the units alive. The Terror Drone is starting to get in place, but it does go down to the Athena Cannon, so that almost died there because of the Twin Blade, the Terror Drone using its stun. So good work there. Twin Blade now harassing what they can. They're really trying to just kind of position around the army, take down whatever they can. The Prospector does survive with the help of those Apollos. No Bullfrogs inside. There's one Bullfrog, but not enough to actually take down those Apollos. Meanwhile, we still see just a lot of infantry. The entire game, there's been so much infantry from both players, which is good. Usually you don't see that because Hammer tanks are just so good at running over infantry with the help of those Grinder Treads. So generally, Javelins aren't very used because, yeah, Hammer tanks are very strong. But I guess with this map, because it's so choke pointy, it does make the infantry a little bit stronger. Whereas if it was open, it means the Hammer tanks will be better at crushing down those, what are they called? Yeah, Javelins. And the other thing as well is there's also no garrisons in this map, so infantry, again, don't quite have as much as a strong point, whereas they do in maps, you know, for example, like Battle Base Beta, which I don't like. Too choke pointy. So yeah, it's good to see people use infantry in maps where people don't really use infantry. Anyway, so now the Crocopters and the Vindicator Apollo army is pushing out, probably going to try and harass down this refinery because it's so exposed despite having the flak cannon. But no, it looks like he's trying to defend his own base, which is pretty important, defending your own base. Anyway, so now there's not very much here, and it looks like the Hammer tanks are going to push through with the help of those infantry. The V4's using their splash damage to take down the infantry in their wide radius, but now he's in his choke point, so he could lose to another cryo shot again. Oh, the heroic Javelins are very strong against air units, taking down one Apollo, and now the Cryogeddon, splitting up that army. He's going to have to send the Hammer tanks forward to avoid the damage from the Cryo shot. The Athena Cannon is going to take some of them down, the Javelins are taken down, but the Mirage tanks aren't shooting them, so he's actually losing these Athena Cannon, the other Mirage tank. Meanwhile, the Mirage tanks are just sitting there doing nothing. Yeah, so he lost a lot more than he should have done. Here come the Mirage tanks now, taking down those Hammer tanks. Oh, here another flak drop, taking down that refinery as well. That was a really well-timed engagement because with using 2 attacks at once, he couldn't react in time and did actually lose his refinery, which is good. Because, yeah, if he keeps losing bases, he won't be able to stay in this game because he's behind his other refinery. But oh my god, here comes a Kirov airship. That Kirov's going to be very good at taking down this refinery because the anti-air, this isn't enough, and even if it does get there in time, it's still not going to actually prevent it from taking down that ore refinery. You really got to scout them first and intercept them down the track, using the secondary to get there in time, but he will definitely lose that refinery to that bombardment from the Kirov airship. Maybe even more, might even take down like the Prospector or perhaps even the War Factory, but no, because the laser lock is doing so much damage with the help of that heroic. He actually using the shrink ray to make the Prospector move faster, avoiding losing it against the Kirov airship, as well as actually making it move to this top refinery to really get some more oil, because he keeps losing his refinery. He needs to get more and more refineries because he can't get some water on because the Akula sub is camping it there. So now, so many Hammer tanks, so many infantry, so many MiGs going to take down the Quadcopter. It did shrink some things, but didn't do much because there wasn't actually anything to capitalize on that. So yes, the command hub is going down. We might see another expansion from Allied, unless Soviet can actually get there in time and harass that, but he doesn't know it's there. He has no scouting information on that. So yes, we do still have this observation post there, which is going to be very important, because yeah, he does know, he still knows where his army is, so he can really abuse that positioning with those drops, pushing the side perhaps. So that good use keeping that observation post alive. Meanwhile, the Cryocopters are trying to shrink what they can, but there isn't much point at this stage. Well, the Naval Yard's still there, so we might see a Dreadnought soon. Dreadnoughts are good, but they do get shrunken very easily, which completely nullifies them when they're shrunken. The Hammer tank does actually scout down that Northern Command hub, so that's going to be very important, because that's basically just denied this Northern expansion unless the Vindicator can actually take that down, which it doesn't. I thought it does because it's heroic, but apparently not. Anyways, leech beaming to get the health back, and now the Apollos are catching out the MiGs. Bit of miss micro there. He could have done a lot better than that, but oh well. Took him down 1 MiG at least. So the V4 now is actually taking down some of these prospectors. Good, good, good. So much harassment from both players. Like the armies, it's been a very neutral army game for most of the part, but there's been so much harassment. It's actually made it okay. Crocop is now going to take this one out, but it looks like he could actually abuse the positioning and take that refinery down, but no, the Apollos are keeping that alive. That ore refinery has almost died so many times, but good micro there from Allied keeping that refinery alive. So Mirage tanks are pushing out now. They might try and engage this army, but it's so much bigger than Allies because of these extra expansions as well. The Hammer tank is still there taking down that command hub, so he looks like he's going to take that down, as well as, yeah, there we go. Heroic Vindicators are terrifying indeed. They do a lot of damage and they take a long time to vet up as well. They have a very slow vet rate. And yes, the refinery is still down. So it's actually really good work from Soviet denying these expansions with the Kula, with the Hammer tank, and using the Twin Blades to harass these northern supplies. So definitely shout out for Soviet. Like, despite the fact that he can't push, he's holding on very well with these aggression. One thing I want to note though, I think the reason why he hasn't just won by pushing with his superior army is because he keeps choke pointing himself through this little canyon here, which means he keeps getting caught out by the cryo shot and now Crygeddon. So I like to see him either push through the side or push through both the top and the right at once. The V4 is using its range to snipe the refinery over the cliff. The Spy is getting the cell on those hammer tanks. Oh my god, now he's crushing all of those infantry as well as pushing through the middle of the map here. They're so split up. He can use the cryo shot to really retreat those units, while the hammer tanks are taking down so many of those infantry, as well as a lot of these hammer tanks. Tesla troopers are getting caught in that Crygeddon as well as his own Mirage tanks actually, but that's okay because he has a lot of Mirage tanks and the Athena cannons there. The Crycopters are shrinking whatever they can, the V4s to protect those shells. Apollo's taking down all of his air units as well as the flak troopers just sitting there gunning down whatever they can with that long range, especially against those Apollos. So the Allied ended up losing that engagement, but it did so well with that Spy and with the cryo shot. So one heroic Athena cannon, if he micros that really well, he could hold up against these tanks. But Athena cannons aren't very good against infantry, so he's going to probably need to get a lot of peacekeepers to actually deal with all those troops. Natasha is now coming through the side of the map, dodging that Athena cannon. She can snipe down some buildings with her ability. And Mirage tank might take down those Tesla troopers, but no, they had to have too much health compared to flak troopers, so Tesla troopers are actually pretty good against Mirage tanks. Whereas Natasha, oh no, not the command center. There goes the command center, so that's going to hurt a lot. He's going to have to sell that in order to... Yeah, actually, he didn't even sell it. So now with that, there goes Vet 3. So he no longer has any Mirage tanks. He can only build Riptides, which are pretty bad against like heroic flak troopers as well as airfield. So I would definitely say this is game from Allied because he just has lost... Yeah, there's his factory. That's game. That's game with his factory gone. All he has is an airfield left. So yeah, that was actually really intense because of how like aggressive they were, despite having he hasn't quit yet. I don't want to talk until the game ends. I'll probably look silly. Here we go, GG. Okay, so as I was saying, so much harassment on those refineries, despite the fact that there wasn't many territory gained from either players. They kept trying to engage, and I think the problem was the Soviet, he kept losing those battles because he went through the choke point with the cryo shot, which is bad. It splits your army up. You either go in, you either commit to the fight, or you retreat, and there's no middle ground. If it splits your army up in half, then half your army is only fighting at once, which really takes down a lot of its efficiency. But definitely, the Soviet player had the economic advantage, and that's why he kept in the game despite his poor engagement, because he just had simply just so much more stuff than Allied that he could really afford those engagements. But I think at the end it was almost turned when Allied had that absolutely fantastic spy timing. He spied like, was it 4 hammer tanks and like a Tesla trooper, as well as them cryo-shotting through the middle to actually split that army up. So good work on Allied microing those engagements, really keeping in that position there, keeping that refinery alive, making those cost-effective trades against the superior army. But in the end, it fell down to Soviet's superior economy. So good game there from both players. I'm not sure who's who, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, so I do run a series of Command & Conquer Generals shoutcasts called the Generals Gentlemen. So if you like my casting, check it out. They're pretty good, as well as I also want to do some more Red Alert 3 games because I love this game. This game is fantastic. as well as also Cybirth and I should be dual casting a stream on 0 Hour soon for the World Series. So we'll be around anyway, so keep an eye out for me. So until then, goodbye. Thank you for listening.